Hello and welcome to Laocook.com. Today I'm going to be talking you through the way we make our bitter melon and coriander soup. Here we are in our kitchens, and as you can see, Saki is chopping the meat by hand and knives. The reason why we're not using a machine is because with a machine you have the possibility to over mince the meat, and that's not what we want. We want to keep the meat coarse and to retain its texture. Other ingredients which we will be using today include pre-soaked vermicelli threads, which have been cut into 2-inch strands. And for the binding, we will have egg and some corn flour. For the flavoring, we're using mushroom soy sauce. And here we have a mixture of chopped chives, garlic and shallots, a little bit of white pepper and some sea salt. And here we have our bitter melon, which has been cleaned and de-seeded. And now we are going to make the stuffing. As you can see, Sen is now mixing the vermicelli strands with the pork. We use pork, but you can use any type of meat you want. You can use chicken, beef, even prawns. We've added 10% of fat to the pork. This keeps the pork moist during cooking and also adds a good flavour to the stock. Here you can see we're using gloves. Each cook goes through about 10 pairs a day in our kitchens. So mix in the vermicelli strands with the meat. And now we're going to start the binding process by adding the egg. The vermicelli strands have been cut because otherwise they'll be too long to eat. So we find that 2 inches, 2.5 inches is quite acceptable. Mix the egg in really well. And to finish the binding process, we are going to add some corn starch, corn flour, corn starch. About 2 teaspoons should do the trick. Get that in there, and what this does, basically the egg and the cornstarch will keep the meat together whilst we're boiling it in our stock, which you'll see later. Otherwise you'll have bits of meat floating all over the stock, and that's not what you want. Now for the flavourings, some Thai mushroom soy sauce, about 2.5-3 teaspoons there. Mix that in well. And now our mixture of garlic, chives and shallots. This flavouring gives the stuffing a very, very good aroma. Actually, when making this film, we could smell it all over the kitchen. It was lovely. Made our mouths water in anticipation. A little bit of white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon, not too much. We don't want to overpower the flavour of the meat. And finally some sea salt, which is incidentally Maldon salt from the United Kingdom, perhaps one of the best salts you can buy. Not too salty, strangely enough. It's a very, very delicate flavour and goes well with Asiatic food as well as European foods. Once everything is mixed together, all we have to do now is stuff the bitter melon. Now the trick here is not to overstuff it and not to compact it too much. You just want the right amount so it stays in the cylinders of bitter melon. It doesn't matter if the vermicelli strands are on the outside, because while we're cooking it, as you will see, they'll just melt into the final dish. As you can see, we have finished stuffing our bitter melon, and now what we're going to do is turn the stock into a soup. Here we have for flavourings some chopped onions, coriander stems, mushroom soy sauce and fish sauce. Any remaining stuffing can always be used for meatballs. Here we have our light chicken stock. Let's bring that to the boil. What we're going to do is we're going to add the fish sauce first, and when we add the mushroom soy sauce, that will give the stock, which will now be a soup, its nice dark brown colour. So first, 2.5 teaspoons fish sauce, the same amount of mushroom soy sauce, onions, coriander stems, and finally we lower in the bitter melon. At this point the temperature of the soup will lower, and what we want to do is want to control that temperature. So we don't want to cook the bitter melon too quickly, otherwise the stuffing inside will be raw. So gentle simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. At the restaurant we like to serve 1 piece per person, and for the final touches we add our coriander leaves. You should be generous with the coriander leaves because this will impart the final flavour to the overall soup. And there we have it, Laocook.com bitter melon and coriander soup. Thank you for watching.